Welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Vincent Green.
And I'm your host, Noel Tui.
And this is Invasion of Potty Snatchers. And this time around, we got ourselves a special twisty rankers edition we're going to rank off our favorite M.Night Shyamalan movies.
Or are we?
Or are we? That would have been amazing. Oh, we should have done that. That would have been amazing. Every movie is not an M.Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah. God. We're after putting in the effort now to do the M.Night Shyamalan. We shouldn't have done M.Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, that would have been incredible shit. All right. When Noel comes up with better ideas, we got on with this episode, right?
yeah.
All right, Noel. So, like on Wednesday, we released our Knock on the Cabin episode. So we said we'd follow that up with some M. Night Shyamalan movies because, like, of all the directors, he's one of the most polarizing in history. And like in this
list, very true.
Yeah, and I think these lists are going to be very polarizing. And the reasons we picked the movies themselves are going to be very polarizing, but because of the director himself and because the history he has with the audience and cinema and shit like that, I think these lists are going to be kind of interesting because his movies are very Marmite-ish, and if you don't know Marmite-ish, their whole tagline is either love or hate it kind of thing.
Yeah, like that they leaned into it.
Yeah,
Vegemite in Australia, I think. Yeah, and I hate it. It's disgusting.
Yeah. Does your brother eat Vegemite? Because isn't that a thing? Like after a while, you start liking it if you live there long enough.
Oh, yeah, maybe he does. Like, maybe he does because it's
maybe
the
why he
rule.
grew that fantastic mustache, just eating Vegemite. Mustache sprouts up.
I want to get the mustache sponsored by Vegemite.
But so like no, we got on the way here because you know
I want your number 5 first.
You want me to start?
So that I can have the big
Yeah, I'm always ready for it, Noel. I'm always ready for it. All right, so give me 2 seconds here. You caught me off guard, Noel. I say I'm always ready, but you caught me off guard. All right, my number 5. So we said this list is probably going to have a polarizing effect on us and the audience and whatnot for the reasons we picked them. But my number 5 is the movie that kind of brought M. Night Shyamalan back out of the cold. And we spoke a little bit on Wednesday about some of his more muted stories or some of his best, and that is The Visit. You can't see him because of my massive cranium. But so after Earth, he was pretty much, his reputation was sunk to a pretty big low. The movie was very poor. The chemistry, even though it was the father and son, was incredibly shocking, and the storyline and the twist and all these things are completely unnecessary. So to go back to where he started in a very muted kind of horror with a twist, a pretty good twist, and to tell a very unsettling story in a very real way, I thought he did a very good job with The Visit. Noel, what do you think?
Yeah, I think The Visit is a really, really good choice. It's the same thing where we were talking in the last time we were talking Knock at the Cabin, that he works better when he's grounded.
Yeah,
and even like existentially, there could be absolutely universe collapsing black holes, all of it.
Yeah,
it works. And The Visit is a really, really good example of that, I think. And it was kind of a return to form. And I like the way you worded bring him out of cold, because I actually think that's exactly what it did.
Yeah. It really reignited him, like, because that did so well out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden you have Split and movies like Glass and stuff like that, and then you have Knock at the Cabin. Like, he's really on a roll at the moment in terms of
he's really on a roll.
Consistent releases, you know.
And that's why I happy to.
Is that your number 5 as well? Yeah,
that's my number 5 as well. Yeah. You have to recognize it, and I think 5 is always a good number because you're not saying like, oh no, this isn't where I wanted to end. This isn't the apex at all. But you have to recognize that he kind of like got back to form.
Yeah, it was a very important movie for him in a lot of ways.
It was a massively important movie for him.
Yeah,
and even if it's like, I don't know, even if it's his 10th most successful movie in terms of box office and stuff like that, I still think it's the most important movie because it's the movie that means he got to go on and make Split, or got to go on and make like Knock at the Cabin. He's back.
It really started his relationship with Blumhouse.
Who knows?
Like,
yeah, exactly. And if this had flopped, who knows what? We probably wouldn't be making this list because he wouldn't be as prevalent in our minds at the minute, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, because Knock at the Cabin, like, literally just fucking, like, it came out like a week or two ago, pretty much. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's so very relevant. Like, that's the thing, and because of The Visit, like, he was able to go on, as you said, make all those like kind of big tentpole movies that he's made over the last few years, like, you know, and he's got a real like kind of buzz about him now. And like, as soon as you hear an M. Night Shyamalan movie, nearly like everyone, he's kind of like Jordan Peele in a lot of ways. He's very polarizing on why you go see these movies, but a lot of people still go see these fucking movies, and that's the important thing.
He's box office.
He's box office, exactly.
You know, because there is that guy that does not fucking care.
Yeah,
about your political leanings, and everyone's like, oh, everyone cares what they not. There's that guy who just got investment return done.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you
Yeah.
get a investment in return. All right, Ben, what was your number 4?
All right, my number 4, we spoke a little bit about it on Wednesday. It has the twist within a twist. Actually, no, sorry. No, that's not my number 4. My number 4
It's my number 4.
is a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that would have been amazing. But like, no, my number 4, the only reason it's so low on my list is because it's a movie I actually really like, but the ending is terrible and the twist is awful, and that is Signs. Like, the movie is actually really, really good in my opinion. Like, Mel Gibson, Joaquin Phoenix, put on a really, really good performances, very unsettling. The score is really, really well done, but that ending, that ending is so rough. Like, literally, like, you got a alien species that's so advanced that they can travel like through the galaxy and find their way to Earth. And the one weakness, and they go no, to go decide, let's go and colonize this planet, not considering that their one weakness makes up 2/3 of the entire planet, and it's
Yeah.
just stupid
And
movie.
don't forget, like, humidity is a thing.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's just there's so many things wrong with the ending. It takes away or from the overall experience in a lot of ways. So that, but I still love the movie because of all the things it does right. It's just that's why it's number 4 and not higher up on my list. But like, there is a thing I've heard that initially it was supposed to be demons, and Mel Gibson being like a former pastor or something, that it was supposed to be demons, and that's why the water was supposed to be like holy water, and that's why it was supposed
Well,
to
that works.
yeah, and the whole signs, like, holy signs and signs from the devil
And
and
the
stuff.
thing is, it's not even that satanic because you defeat the
Yeah,
evil with religion, with God, with
yeah,
Christianity. So yeah,
exactly.
but
And yeah, it's about a holy man losing his faith as well, like, and all that as well, like,
that just sounds like a better movie. I never actually sat down and watched this movie start to finish. Of course, I've seen pretty much everything, every
yeah,
part, because it's a huge movie. It gets
yeah,
talked about all the time.
yeah.
But at the same time, I'd be like, the inverse of this is like, oh, it's a perfect planet, absolutely great, it's loads of resources. I mean, 2/3 of it's made of acid.
Exactly,
Sorry, did
man.
you say 2/3 was made of acid? Oh yeah, no
Yeah,
acid, like oceans of acid, and
yeah,
the air is about 5-6% acid at any given time, and
yeah,
it always will be. And I'll be like,
yeah.
all right, all right. So to recap,
Yeah,
2/3 of it's made of hydrochloric acid,
yeah.
and the air itself carries obviously hydrochloric acid.
And not only that, the species down there need this acid to survive, and they pump it into their homes and they have it readily available at all times.
In fact, if they don't, yeah, like in fact, you should consume 8 glasses of acid
Yeah,
every day.
exactly.
You know?
Yeah, there might be just random glasses of acid lying around the place, like, you know what I mean? So that's that.
Oh, and it rains acid.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah. Like, all the time.
monsoons of acid. And
Sometimes waves of acid even come ashore. Like, you know what I mean? They could have picked a worse planet, is what I'm saying.
that's
Yeah,
it. You might as well just like
yeah,
land it on the sun, you
yeah,
know?
exactly. Yeah. So, like, all the
But
strengths
it
of the
would have made
movie.
my list, I'm sure, but I actually
Yeah,
never sat down and watched it start to finish. And I think just for the honest implication of it,
yeah. And
I
I'm going
went with,
the
for
village.
me, The Village. Yeah. And this
A bit
is,
of Arabic underneath it, I like it.
yeah, actually, I wanted to get a good landscape one. I was like, who cares about the bit of Aramaic? The one I had The Village down here, and
I'm
I
pretty
know
sure it's Arabic, dude, not
Arabic.
Aramaic.
Sorry. Apologies. I will try.
Who did you insult there? People who speak Aramaic or people who speak Arabic?
Probably everyone, man. It was probably a wide enough swath, like. But The Village did the twist inside a twist
Yeah, the
thing,
twist and the twist is
and the first twist was great.
yeah,
The first twist, spoiler, is that the demon that they cannot venture into the woods because it has to be avoided, isn't real. That
yeah,
it's one of the town elders, and this is how they keep them compartmentalized and compact and keep them technically safe. At least that's the idea. And
and now you're wondering what they're keeping them safe from, and they're like the outside
exactly.
world, what kind of outside
And then
world?
when she goes ventures like too far into what she falls out onto the
Bryce
road.
Dallas Howard's.
Yeah, and nearly gets hit by a car.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait, it's
What
not
the
the
fuck?
1880s,
As soon as she finds
70s,
that
70s.
fence, man, I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Like,
And I kind of, and wait, I'll say this. I kind of pat myself on the back sometimes for seeing things coming because I like to, and we all like to think we're smarter than we are.
yeah.
But I didn't get the second twist. I didn't see it coming. Like the
Because
first twist, first twist, yeah, the monster not being real. Then falling down to the road and it being like, it being 2004, it being the year it is.
So fucking dumb.
I know it was dumb, but I didn't see it coming.
So unnecessary. But yeah, good
but
twist.
that's the thing, it was unnecessary. And then it was just like, but like, oh yeah, in fact, but like that car is really old. this is in fact it's a vintage car because it's actually 2090. And then just like just where does it stop, man? Just where does it stop?
Yeah, a good twist isn't a twist that you don't see coming. I think it's a good twist that makes you like it's a worthwhile twist, and you go, aha,
Yes.
But
And
like
it's one of
you're not,
a
oh
good twist is
no,
usually like one of the things you propose it be.
yeah.
Of the 20
Or
things you
makes you
propose
say,
it be.
holy fuck, like Sleepaway Camp.
Yes. The Sleepaway Camp made you
Oh my
say holy
God.
shit.
Say
Like,
holy fuck. And that,
yeah.
as you spoke about the other day, we were talking like the
Just the
face.
face as well.
Yeah,
It just
yeah.
it's seared
Oh
into
my
your memory,
God.
of
Such a
course.
good
But
movie.
this was but it wasn't at the same time, it wasn't a garbage movie. It was
Yeah.
just kind of
Oh,
a
it's really
knockout,
good right up until the end. That's the
really
problem.
good right up into the end. Honest to God,
Like
that
Signs.
if you would just that last 4 minutes or whatever of the movie,
Yeah.
if it just saved itself, it would be so much higher up the list.
Yeah. It's
A
so
great,
unnecessary.
so unnecessary. But
Mm.
again, it's a good number 4 for me because it has a lot I like and it has a lot I don't like.
Yeah, exactly. Like Signs for me as well. Like, it's like it's so good up until a point, but the point is kind of very frustrating, so you can't overlook it. So yeah, so that's your number 4. And I'll give you
And it's
my
your
number.
number 3.
No, my number 3 coming up now. My number 3, like we talked a little bit about The Visit, how that brought M.Night Shyamalan back. This one was kind of his big blockbuster with an excellent twist. Both twists, he double twisted like a legend in this one, and that is Split. Like we spoke about a little bit on Wednesday, I think, about how the beast is real and stuff like that, and like that's the big twist you think. But then you have the mid credit scene where you see David Dunn returning from Unbreakable, and you realize that there's a shared universe happening here, and like fucking hell, man. That was one of the best twists like I've seen in anything. There's no way
And it was
anyone saw it
subtle.
coming. So subtle, like and
It was a
so
huge
sneaky.
twist done so subtly.
Yeah,
He's simply having a cup of coffee
yeah, exactly.
at
And
the
he's just seen it on
diner.
the news.
And he's not messing with anyone. He's not in the middle of a battle he's
Yeah,
not fighting Thanos, which is
yeah.
one of the reasons I love that movie. Like he was always for quite
Well,
grounded.
if you've
And
never seen Avengers Unbreakable,
yeah, Avengers
beautiful.
Unbreakable. Yeah, well, fuck it.
Yeah,
No, I thought it was yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. It was just a cool movie, and of course, like our leading man was just fantastic in the
James
role.
McAvoy was a beast in that movie, literally, like and
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was literally and figuratively. He was an absolutely in beast mode.
yeah.
He was the playful child,
Mm.
the really the guy who actually did the kidnapping.
Yeah,
The kind of like the soldier with the 1,000-yard stare, like the guy who's been through the shit. And then there was the caregiver and all these kind of different
Patricia.
characters, Patricia.
Yeah,
And
I'm trying
he
to remember the
just
other characters' names.
yeah, I can't remember their names,
Yeah,
but even when he was playing the kid as well, he was quite auspiciously funny
yeah,
in a very non-funny environment, because obviously there's these terrified young women
yeah.
and all this horrible shit's coming out, but then this goofy kind of kid who's too young and too innocent to really capture what's going on comes into the light, as they called it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was front and center and he was quite funny. So, but then when the beast turned out to be real, I was like, fine. I was wondering, is it a psychotic break or is he
Yeah,
something completely exceptional? And I remember just thinking, yes, this is a fucking cool movie.
yeah,
I just left going, that was a cool fucking movie.
yeah.
And the twist in the
And you
middle of
don't
the
see that and
credits.
like it as well. Like,
Yes,
you know what I
that's
mean?
it done right, man.
Yeah, the button scene at the end was perfect. Like absolutely perfect. Like you know what I mean? And you don't see many things like Split. Like James McAvoy, I think, is one of the best actors of his generation. Like hands down. I really do believe that. He can act in anything. We've seen him in like superhero movies, we've seen him like dramas, we've seen him in crime thrillers, we've seen him like fucking anything, man. He can do anything. We've seen him in horror now. He never disappoints. Like you could never imagine the same guy who was in The Last King of Scotland was going to play the Beast in Split, and at the same time play Charles Xavier in X-Men. At the same time, be in like British fucking crime thrillers and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what was that one? Donkey Punch, I think was the one I just no, was it Donkey Punch? No, or something like. But I just watched it there yesterday. I can't remember the name. But like,
He's the real deal. I
yeah,
mean, he's the
exactly.
real
Like,
deal.
and we got to see like every single thing he has in his locker on display in this movie. And like, not only like is the movie well written and it's very intense, and the whole scenario is fucking really terrifying. The three girls getting kidnapped and held against their will and stuff like that. But just the character man himself of Kevin Crumb, that's his name, is like just the character himself was so well done that it's undeniable that had to be in my top 3, because not only was it a massive tour de force for M. Night Shyamalan in terms of the story, But like the character he brought to life in Kevin Crumb and the way it was portrayed by James McAvoy, you just let him off the leash, and he was so fucking good in it that it had to be in my top three. Is it in your top three too? Yeah,
It's my number three as
number
well.
three.
Yeah, I am not, and just to, we won't spend too long on it because I actually
Yeah,
think you summed it up quite well. But even just in that picture behind me, where you can see our friend here,
yeah,
he strikes such a, his physique never changes. He's
yeah.
still like, he is just
Only when he's the
simply,
beast.
yeah, well, only when he's the beast, to be
Yeah,
fair. But like, his physique never changes. He's still just a average body, average height dude, an average build dude, kind of average in an awful lot of ways. But when he's there, like when he's playing that character, he's intimidating as fuck. Like he
yeah,
looks like the kind of guy that if you got into a bar fight, he'd glass you. You know what I mean?
yeah,
He'd be the guy that would be coming at you with ashtrays and absolutely everything. He's very intimidating.
yeah,
But then he's the exact same actor that plays the kid.
yeah.
Like he just
Just
has,
body
and
language and
like
stuff.
it's why, like, I mean, I talk up actors like Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman
Yeah,
just shows up, doesn't say shit, and just walks in, assesses the crime scene, whatever it is he's doing, whatever role he's playing. He's Dracula. He's Gordon in Batman, whatever. I don't care, but he just has that to him. But he had this aura about him in like 5 different roles in one movie, and
yeah,
you can't deny it.
yeah,
And for the fact that the twists added to the film instead of taken away, instead of being taken center focus,
yeah.
he gets huge plaudits from
The
me.
very
This is one of
subtle
the best,
twists, weren't they? Like, and good
very
reveals
subtle
as
for
well.
his, very subtle for his movies, very subtle.
Yeah, man. Like when he reveals the beast is fucking amazing as well. Like, you're
And
terrified. Like,
and he doesn't even, like he gets bigger, but like it's like he
yeah,
makes himself bigger, like the way you might do it, like animals do in front of predators and stuff.
yeah,
But he was still just like, fuck, this guy's going to fuck you up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, man. He's a
Uh,
really imposing bad guy, like as well at the same time, a really
yeah.
relatable villain at the same time because you can see what he's suffering from.
And
And
the actor must have been delighted to be in a huge film, but the actor must have been just like thrilled with this, with the,
yeah,
because
being able
it
to
was
play
an
so many parts.
actor. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, it was meaty, man. That was
yeah.
a meaty role. That was the most meaty role he could have hoped for.
Yeah, like
But,
especially from a horror, like to have so
oh
many layers
yeah,
in your character as well. Like, but
and
like,
he was sympathetic. Like, I mean,
yeah.
he's
Oh man, that's the thing about it. Like,
extremely
yeah,
deranged. Like,
because every personality is totally separate from one another in lots of ways. That like, are they even responsible for what the other personalities are doing? And
exactly.
that's the big question about people that suffer from dissociative identity disorder and
Yeah, and
like
there was a little bit of upset in the community, and I remember just thinking, I completely understand that as somebody that has mental health issues
yeah.
himself, but at the same time, I was thinking this is obviously such
Oh,
like a
what an
Hollywood,
anxiety man be a shit superhero though,
yeah,
wouldn't it?
so yeah, panic attack man,
Yeah,
like
you know
you
what
know
I
what I
mean?
mean, like
He's
it's
like,
just like,
ah!
well, oh no, okay, but like the only way we can save the world is if he gets his shit together. There's your movie.
We're doomed.
We're doomed.
We're
Like,
doomed.
and it's
Um,
like knock at the cabin. Can you get your shit together? It's like,
it's like no.
now that like 200,000 people are dead, even less so, I dare
Yeah.
say.
It's too
But
much
being
stress.
represented, I do get, but like it was taken to such a degree because of the movie, and
Hmm.
it was no longer about that. It was just fucking Hollywood being
Yeah,
Hollywood.
well, people don't understand superheroes. Like that's been going on through the history of superheroes. This is
Yeah,
in a lot of ways a superhero movie because in a way it's a villain origin story. But like if you look at it, they oftentimes take different things from the real world and then you just amp it up and make it like uber villainous, like like
yeah,
intelligence or whatever. That, it's been done to that. Like or like you could have like someone has like an amputee and then they have like prosthetics and the prosthetics is often like way above the technology that exists in the time and shit like that. So like people have been doing that for ages in superhero movies and villains and stuff, where they take stuff from the real world and just kind of like amp it up.
exaggerated
You
quite
know what I mean?
often.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because even
Like
like I've tried my hand at writing comedy and something. You always kind of take something like
yeah,
and then you exaggerate it to such a degree, but it's based on something you know.
yeah. Because
So,
like
but because you get to,
like
because it's just words on a page.
I showered myself in gamma rays and I haven't got any superpowers, but my hair's definitely falling out. But like it's certain things like that. Like
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? But but like great. What's your no? It's my number two because this confused me when I go first.
yeah. I know. I
Yeah.
threw a fucking spanner in the works.
Sorry, my number two is pretty much what Get Birth to Split, like created the extended universe, David Dunn, and it had to be number two because everybody knows what number one's going to be, and that's Unbreakable. Like this,
Breakable.
This movie's
These
just like
females are strong as men.
yeah, but this movie, what's called the script is brilliant. The whole idea of the realistic superhero story, even though it's been overdone now, wasn't really done back then as much, and it was just so fucking well done, well put together. David Dunn's a very interesting character. He's got a lot of kind of like skeletons in his closet, but like all the decisions he made were kind of for the benefit of others, and oftentimes he's the only one that suffers, but he feels massive guilt for making those decisions. And like he's a very complex character, and Bruce Willis like absolutely plays it brilliantly. And Bruce Willis shows
And it's
that
a
like
classic underplayed character.
yeah, like Sixth Sense,
Like,
like he does with what's the character's name in Sixth Sense?
oh, don't ask me the
Yeah,
character's name, and that's your job.
yeah, you keep
Yeah,
going.
you keep talking about it. I'll find it for you real quick.
Yeah, so like the best thing about Bruce Willis oftentimes is when he does these kind of more kind of quiet kind of characters
Dr.
because
Malcolm Crowe.
Malcolm Crowe is that it's Sixth Sense. So like,
Yeah,
well, like when Dr. Malcolm Crowe and David Dunn in Sixth Sense and Unbreakable, what he does is like he plays like a very like I know kind of he's almost very defeated by the world, but yeah, he's still trying to find the good in it or something. And that's like, and he plays those two characters very well. They're like very tortured, very broken people that are like trying to deal with their past and all the different things that they've gone through. And but at the same time, they're still trying to be a better version of themselves. They're trying to bring some sort of right into the world. There's like, you know, it's like they're still trying to help broken people because they understand it because they themselves are broken or some shit like that. You know what
yeah.
I mean? So what's your number two, Noel?
Well, I'm going to, I've been kind of wrestling with this, to be honest with you. And my number two is your number one, and that's
Sixth
the
Sense.
Sixth Sense. You see, that's why
Interesting.
I was looking for where the words could be up there, but everyone recognizes it.
Wow.
The thing is, I'll tell you a quick tidbit. When we
I
were all
just
like underage drinking back in the day, it was
just fucking change the discussion.
yeah.
My
When we
number
were
one, Sixth Sense.
when we were drinking back in the day, it was my father was a prison officer, or as a screw, as our American, uh,
Yeah.
uh, but they had a club that they went to. It was like a bar that they won 200
The
owned. So
prison
prison
officers
officers
club.
club.
It's
We
now a
used to be able to drink
casino.
in there. Mel came in, our friend Mel, and he had just seen it, and he could not believe how good it was. I mean, he was riding high,
Yeah.
and I said, wow, yeah. And he was going, you're not going to believe the twist. You're not going to believe the twist. Like Bruce Willis and, kids talking to ghosts and stuff like that. And I was like, is Bruce Willis dead? He goes, yeah. And I went,
Why
and that's how I found out.
would you ask the question if you didn't
I
want to know the
don't know,
answer?
because I'm stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, because like there was just a lot of stupidity went around that day.
Force Ghost
I was a
Noel is,
16-year-old
I
who
think,
was
a lot
allowed in
more
the
wisdom.
bar, yeah. But I loved this film. But when
Yeah.
I watched it with the subtle nuances that somebody who might be watching it a second time would get. Like how he never actually speaks to the mother. It looks like they're sitting together in an uncomfortable silence.
Yeah.
They're not actually speaking to each other.
Yeah.
Things like that. I thought this film was fucking phenomenal. The
Mm.
acting, Haley Joel Osment,
Yeah.
butchered it. He was stupendous. Like he was the child actor of his generation.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
a child actor's generation, unfortunately, is probably about a 4-year window or
Yeah, he
something.
made 3 or 4 really good movies like that.
AI and
AI, Pay Forward, Sixth Sense, and oh, there's one more. He did one more, no?
he made the mistake of growing up.
Yeah. It's like, how dare you? But like, I thought he did like one other really good movie, no?
I'm not sure,
Um,
man. You're better at
yeah,
that than me.
yeah,
But he
but
was stupendous.
mm,
And then there was that, like, I see dead people, they don't know they're dead.
yeah,
Or
I See
that
Dead
scene in the
People. It's fucking
car
iconic,
where the
man.
lady gets hit, the lady on the bike gets hit.
Yeah,
And it's like, because she's standing at the window. None of that's like there. I always we talk quite often about horror films, the different vibes of them,
mm,
and the one that hollows me out, the one that actually fucks with me, is the undeniable power of something like the slow burn, the existential stuff. Could you
mm,
imagine a jump scare doesn't do that? A guy running at you with a knife, it doesn't do that.
yeah,
It's just, could you imagine being a child? Could you imagine a world that nobody understands, and you're looking right into the heart of it as a child? It's so mindfucky, and he delivers it so well. He's
yeah.
just like, he's scared and he doesn't know what to
And the
do.
scenes where he sees the ghost are terrifying as well.
Oh god, the little girl
Yeah, it was
who's
just
he was
vomiting,
murdering, he's vomiting. Yeah, god, that
Mm.
fucked with me the first time I saw
With
it.
the mother in the kitchen when she
The mother
turns.
in the kitchen absolutely drinking in all the attention,
Yeah,
like a life and soul of the fucking wake. or
No,
whatever it
no, I
was.
mean the mother in his kitchen.
Oh
She's
yeah,
missing part of
yeah,
her
yeah.
skull.
Oh god,
Yeah.
yeah,
Don't you dare look at me like that, or some shit. She turns around,
yeah.
screams at him. That oh man, he runs off
Well,
and hides
he
himself
just
then.
had so much, just in the face. Just
Yeah,
you looked at him, he actually looked like there was no camera, like that, like a great actor. There's no
yeah.
camera, there's no nothing. This child genuinely looks
The
terrifying.
cast is so good though.
The
Bruce
cast is
Willis,
so
Tony
good.
Collette, and Haley Joel Osment are the kind of the spine of the
Oh,
movie. Man, they're so good. Like Tony Collette's reactions when she finds out what Haley Joel Osment's seen and being seen. And you touched on earlier when he talks about the cyclist outside the doors, like there was an accident up ahead, and the lady she didn't make it, and she's standing outside my window now or some shit like that. And
yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Because remember he talks about how he goes, I see grandma sometimes. She went to see a dance or some shit like that, and he says that, and she starts crying, and she realizes why he's telling us the truth.
Because he couldn't
Like
possibly know it.
yeah,
Just it's well
exactly.
beyond yeah.
Yeah, and like the realization that she comes to, and she just plays that off perfectly. And then when the realization of Bruce Willis, when he like spoilers that he finds out that he's been dead all along, that he didn't make it out from his Vincent
The
Gray, I think.
intro scene, really,
Mm.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, Danny Wahlberg, who plays Vincent Gray at the start, he lost like 50 pounds just to prove people he was serious about the art of acting, because like people didn't really buy him because I think he was in New Kids on the Block or something back in the day.
Johnny
And
Wahlberg, yeah.
yeah, and so after that, like people didn't really like think he was going to take acting seriously. So he took a really small role in Sixth Sense, and as Vincent Gray, the guy who kills Bruce Willis at the start, and he loses like lost like 50 pounds for the role, like you know what I mean? It's like that part of the start is so haunting as well. Like, you know, it's like, do you know why the hair stand up in the back of your neck and shit like that? It's like, I do, and it's like shit like that, man. And that fucking whole thing is terrifying, like, you know. And then later on when Bruce Willis listens to the recording and when he leaves the room, remember like he's talking to Vincent Gray and he goes, he leaves the room, he'll take a call or something, and he can hear people speaking in the background, like you know what I mean. He comes in, it's like Vincent, why you shaking and stuff. But like this movie sets up everything so perfectly, and it gives you all the clues you need to figure out the kind of to solve the puzzle that lay ahead. But you don't realize that you're supposed to be solving the puzzle because it's so sneakily put together. And I just thought it was genius.
Yeah, it was.
Like
It was
Sixth
such
Sense
a
is
fucking good film.
unfortunately for him, his best movie was his first movie in our opinions. But like, what do you think
That's
number one?
and yeah, but like
In my
genuinely, see, this
opinion,
is
actually, what is your number one? So yeah, what
yeah,
is
this is the thing. This was just how it hit me.
yeah,
I thought that Unbreakable was such a good movie.
interesting. I would never have
I
done that.
remember just thinking that how crazy it would be. Like so many of us live unremarkable lives. So even if
Yeah,
something completely remarkable was happening, it could go completely under the radar. And my favorite line from this film was always when he just turns around to his boss and he goes, "How many sick days have I taken?" And he
yeah,
didn't realize your man thought it was a tactic to look for a raise,
yeah,
but he genuinely wanted to know.
yeah.
How many sick days have I taken? Surely I've been here for X amount of
5 years.
Yeah, yeah, 5 years. And it turned out none.
Yeah.
He doesn't get sick.
Yeah, it's not
He just,
crazy. Like when he
yeah,
starts unraveling the mystery about himself, like
yeah, and then you're like, and then there's that, and that scene where he's lifting weights
mm.
and he has the kid put paint cans. Like he ran out of weights, so he started putting paint cans and whatever
It's
he
like
could
how much
find.
did you put on? It's like everything.
Everything. And I love
Yeah,
that line as well. He just goes, everything. And it was just what would you do in a very unremarkable world if you found out you're a superhero?
yeah,
Because it's not, he didn't have, like, he was unbreakable. That was
yeah,
it. And that's huge. But he can't travel like Spider-Man or Superman. He can't, you know what I mean? He can't hunt down. He can only just like be there. And then he had that intuition thing, whatever they called it. And
that was really cool. Some of
that
those
was
cutscenes were really, really cool.
some of those cutscenes are really
Yeah,
cool. And then it was simply water because
yeah,
everyone needs a weakness. And then the whole thing of the
yeah.
glass man.
Water is really like M.Night Shyamalan really has a thing about water, doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah,
Like he
exactly.
really does, like you know. Uh,
8 glasses is too much a day, you
yeah.
know, like
Like doesn't like fucking David Dunn die in a puddle of water in glass.
he
Like
does, yeah,
you
he
know what I mean?
dies
Like
literally in a puddle of water.
yeah, he really
But
has a thing
I
about
know I
water,
just
doesn't
loved I seen this movie the first time when I was commuting from Dublin
he? Yeah.
and it was thrown on. And unfortunately, the commute was not quite long enough to get to the very, very end. So
Oh
I
no.
had to go out and rent this, and I had to see it. I was so into it. I
Yeah.
was sitting like out into the aisle just so I could look. I was like, "This is a fucking terrific movie."
Yeah.
And I'm not even here to be honest with you. I'm not here to say it's a better movie than Sixth Sense. It technically, it's probably not. But I remember just thinking, this is the cleverest shit. This is so fucking clever.
Yeah.
This is such a clever way of dynamics of superheroes. The villain looking for his hero, and it all existing inside a world where, like, of course, he's brilliant but feeble.
Yeah.
And Bruce Willis is Kevin, was it? He said he's
David.
like David. He is unremarkable, but gifted.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a parallel that exists in so many fields
And
in
the
real
way they
life.
set it up as well earlier, they're like, there's a soldier villain, and then there's the cerebral villain.
Yes,
And the soldier villain, even though it's brutish, whatever, can match the hero for strength. But it's the thinking villain that's really
of
poses the most
course.
danger to him, and that's what it was.
He's beating you before you knew you were
Because
in a
the
fight with him.
soldier villain was the guy who murdered the family, murdered the parents, and was torturing the kids. That was the soldier villain, and
Yeah.
he overcomes him with his strength. And then later on, like, you know, you find out who the real villain is, and that's Mr. Glass, Samuel L. Jackson. Like, you know, and it's just, man, that movie as well. Like, Sixth Sense has the most legendary twist, I think, of all his
Sixth Sense would
movies.
win against
But
3 to 5 out of.
Unbreakable's twist was very satisfying,
It
ridiculously
was
satisfying.
very
And the
satisfying.
climax when he saves that family, like saves the two kids, is
Yes,
absolutely brilliantly
when he
done.
embraces what he is.
Yeah, and he
Finally.
hands his son the newspaper, and like,
Oh
and
yeah,
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 it's
yeah,
like, and he goes, "You were right," and it's just amazing, like, you know. So
yeah.
like the payoff in Unbreakable is so good, and it's such a worthy film to be number one. Like, if only, like, literally, of all the movies that could only supplant Sixth Sense as number one on this list would be Unbreakable, like, in my
Well,
opinion.
yeah, that's the thing. I
Yeah,
know Sixth Sense would be in probably like 3 out of 5 categories or something like
yeah,
that. I know that, but this film really hit me
yeah.
when I seen
It's
it
the
first.
closest to
In a
his
way,
quality of his original movie, like.
exactly.
Um,
But
but
yeah, that's
yeah,
my.
before we get out of here, because we're short on time, my honorable mention is a movie that I almost gave away earlier on, but the twist within a twist that was in your list already, and that was The Village. Like we spoke about a little bit earlier on, Bryce Dallas Howard is excellent in the lead, Joaquin Phoenix in support. Both of them are brilliant in the movie. I think it's John Hurt, oh no, sorry, William Hurt, who plays the kind of like the leader of the village itself. And the whole conspiracy and the way of control, all that's brilliantly done. The way he uses different colors, and the way again, all these movies look gorgeous. Like, that's, I'm just going to say, every movie that M.Night
It
Shyamalan
swung
touches,
right. What it got right,
yeah,
it got right. But what
yeah,
got wrong, it got wrong. And there's nothing in the middle.
yeah,
It's such a wide swing.
yeah, but he no, but his movies don't always look so good though, don't they? Though, like, and like The Village, like, was so like pretty looking, like, and like all the shots were really
I'll
really
never
good.
take it from him. You
Yeah,
can
like,
never take it
that's the
from him.
thing, like, and his sound effects and score, everything, like, he really built suspense so brilliantly, and he just didn't stick the land in this movie because, as just like Signs, 3/4 of the movie for me, I absolutely loved, but just the twist at the end takes so much away from the overall narrative, and it's so unnecessary as well. Like, you know, maybe in Signs you could say a twist was necessary to wrap up that story, but for The Village, a twist within a twist, the second twist is completely unnecessary. Like we said, and the first
Yes,
twist was
yes.
so, like, the
You're
first
almost
twist was
like we
actually very
get it.
gratifying as well, like, you know.
Yeah,
So
we
what's
get it.
your honorary mention? We get the fuck out here.
So it was the culmination in Glass
Yeah,
of our two stories that made both our lists.
yeah,
It didn't pay off.
yeah. Unfortunately,
It just did not come together.
yeah,
And I'm sure I feel almost sorry for M. Night Shyamalan in this sense, that I'm sure if he had another crack at it, because now he has the benefit of hindsight,
yeah.
he'd know, well, this and it just didn't work. And I don't even know, I don't have the time to break down why I don't think it worked, because it just
It's typical of
didn't
M. Night
work.
Shyamalan, though. If you look at his career, like, his movies are 2/3 good, and usually the end he doesn't stick the landing.
Doesn't
And if
it? And
you
this is almost like,
a
if you were to
trilogy, the
and it's
first
funny,
two
it's a
movies,
good way of putting it,
yeah,
because if you were to think of this as one movie, you're
yeah,
absolutely fucking right.
exactly.
This is the third act, and he didn't stick the landing.
Yeah, and he has that unfortunate habit of doing that, like, you know what I mean? Where he kind of gets maybe in his own head a little bit, like, because Unbreakable is amazing, Split is really, really good. And in Glass, like, the first two were so good. Maybe because there was expectations when you go into Glass, and he never had them when he went into Split, because of how sneaky he deployed the twist and that, and it did the secondary twist. That, like, I just think maybe the expectations were heightened going into this, but yeah, I'm like you. He just did not stick the landing. It just didn't. It should have been more. There should be more to it or something. Um, and the way he like the climax is kind of disappointing, especially the way he dealt with David Dunn. I would have given David Dunn a more glorious ending, like, than that. Like, you know what I mean? It's not too hard to give your heroes glorious endings,
Yeah,
really.
I was actually annoyed about it. I did like where it turned out that Mr. Glass had done exactly what he said he was going, what he set out to do,
Yeah,
and his death was completely inconsequential to him.
Yeah.
So I and Sarah Paulson, because she loves a good cry.
Oh,
She
she's
loves
so
a good cry.
frustrating. She's a
Yeah, she
frustrating actor.
loves a good fucking cry.
Like, I
That's
know
kind of
she's a good actor, but I can't see her
great
play her in
actor.
anything.
Oh, but she just loves a good cry.
Yeah.
And she had a good cry at the fact that like the organization she works for that suppresses information about superhumans.
Yeah, well, what do you think of that extra twist at the end? Seemed like he
I
was
quite
pushing
liked
it
the
a
way
bit.
it was executed. To be honest with you, I thought it was fine, but I thought it was so superfluous when I was just disappointed with the meat of the film.
Yeah.
And what I wanted was the showdown between the Beast
And David Dunn.
and David Dunn. I just wanted that to be kind of epic, but also feel like built up. I
Elijah Crane.
like a grounded,
What's his
I like
name?
a grounded
Elias?
Superman Zod, like a
Mm.
grounded Batman Bane, like somebody who can meet each other on a level. I know I should have said Batman Lex Luthor or no, but like somebody who meets each other on a level playing field
Yeah.
and just goes at it. That's
Yeah,
what
like,
Zod is. That's what Bane is to the relevant superheroes. And I it didn't get there in a very fluid way, and then it didn't pay
Elijah
off in a very
Price. Sorry, that was his name.
fluid way.
Samuel Jackson.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I think, yeah, because you had the first movie sets up Mr. Glass perfectly. Like, and you had the second movie that sets up the soldier. Like, once again, it's the cerebral villain and the soldier villain. Like, your soldier villain is going to be the Beast, and your cerebral is Mr. Glass again. He sets up everything perfectly. He used similar elements that he used in Unbreakable, but he kind of amped them up. Like, and it lined up everything so well. But he got too much into, like, I love character development. And I love character moments and stuff. But he got too much into the talk. You know what I mean? There's too much talking at times, and the pace slows down, because like most of what he does in these movies is really excellent pacing. And for this, for me, I think Glass kind of, I don't know, dragged a bit at times, and then he didn't have the payoff. Or usually his movies are 2/3 good, and the payoff's a bit.
it didn't
Less.
feel like there was love. Yeah, I know that's a weird thing to say, but it
like
didn't
it was
feel
just
like there was
done
an
because I
awful lot
felt
of
like he
love
had
in
to
it.
be done or something. I felt like he had to do it or something. Maybe that's more than he wanted to do.
Well,
it
he
or
did
something.
have to do it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like he himself had laid down the groundwork for that, so
Yeah.
there was no way around it. But yeah, I feel like he set it up and he's going, I'm sure I'll come up with something. You know, like,
exactly.
and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna need
Yeah.
this like straight away. And you're
It
like,
was
straight
such
away.
an inglorious finish to I could know. I think he could have given these
But
characters a bigger payoff.
the reason it made my honorable mention, sorry, I've been
Yeah.
shitting on it, is that you couldn't you have to respect the work that got us where we are.
Yeah.
Like there was an awful lot of good that went into it, and this is just now. This was a sticky. This was the whole trapeze thing, but when you come down, you broke an ankle.
Yeah.
But there was still an awful lot of impressive stuff up to that.
Yeah.
So I guess I was disappointed, man. I don't know what else.
Yeah,
there is
because
to
the
say.
first two movies were so good. I think
Oh, good.
Yeah, and
One
once
made
again,
my number one.
yeah,
Both like
it's just a
like.
trilogy curse. Like, both of them made our top threes pretty much.
Oh God, you're absolutely right. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
but that's it. That's M. Night Shyamalan, man. You
Yeah,
know,
it's just
I mean,
unfortunate, 'cause
I
Glass
feel
didn't
even
even make my
frustrated
list,
in
like,
myself now, and I was just applauding him a minute ago.
Yeah.
And that is M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. Like, and as I said at the start, he's a polarizing director, and our lists are going to be polarizing for a variety of ways, and that's.
But neither of us could lace his boots. I don't want
Yeah,
anyone getting that
100%.
twisted. We couldn't lace
because
his
as soon as
boots.
we go down, there's no laces. We're no
Yeah.
twist. All right, folks. We're gonna leave it at that now. All right, I said something clever for once. All right,
Actually, get the fuck out of here.
All right, I'm your host, Vincent Green.
I'm your host, Noel John Tui.
This Invasion of Polly Snatchers. That's special rankers edition, M. Night Shyamalan movies. I hope you liked it, and if you like the channel, press like, subscribe, hit that bell, whatever. You know what I mean. Come on, follow us, comment, whatever. It helps the page.
And even if I didn't like this at all. Or did you?
Yeah, because even if you don't like it, I literally do not block any comments. So trash us if you feel free.
Yeah. Actually, trash us.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm extremely sensitive.
Yeah,
so I'll probably reply.
Yeah. Break him.
Call
Break
you a
him.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, folks.
All right, folks. See you next time. Peace.
Pieces.
What a twist.
What a twist.
But you can't.